it's me Nikki, aka Nikki Noodle, and today we are going to be doing a Sims 4 build. We're going to be building a tiny home that I actually saw on TikTok over a year ago. I actually did this build a little over, maybe under a year ago, so it's not the freshest in my mind, but it's a build that when I saw on TikTok, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect tiny home. I could never live in a tiny home because I am much too much of a maximalist, as you can tell. But if I was ever to live in a tiny home, this was like the perfect style and so beautiful. And so I decided to create it in The Sims. The TikTok account that I saw this from is called Shay's Tiny Homes. I'll have their TikTok account linked in the description below if you want to check them out. They do all sorts of tiny homes and also sell blueprints. So if you're in the market for that, feel free. But with all that said, let's jump into the build.
So as I said before, this tiny home was designed by Shay's Tiny Homes. This specific model is called the Sophia, and I'm absolutely in love with it. And actually, when I went back to their profile just to make sure I was crediting them correctly, I saw some of their newer designs. I think they were still from like last year, but like this was one random TikTok that popped up on my For You page, and then I like never saw them again, so it was new to me. And I absolutely love all of their designs. They do a lot of the like wood tones and blacks that just looks so good. All of their designs are just simply flawless. So as you can see, this is a basic like rectangular shaped house. It's kind of like a container home, but it's not. But it kind of gives that vibes. Like it's just a long rectangle, but like classy. The landing above the stairs is also just like a very narrow walkway that connects the two rooms. Like it's not really much of a landing. And so I really struggled, as you can see here, trying to make it in The Sims where I could have the area without a floor overlooking the bottom floor, but also keep the walls intact and the roof and everything. So I struggled, but we got there in the end. It's just a one tile walkway. I would assume Sims would be able to still walk on that. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to, but I haven't tested it, so I don't actually know. You're also probably wondering at this point, how is this a tiny home? And the short answer is it's not really. I kind of clickbaited you. I'm sorry. It's not technically a tiny home in The Sims. I think in real life it would for sure be considered a tiny home, but for starters I did the classic Nikki thing where I made my build way too big. You can see how I'm making it a little bit smaller now, and I will continue to do that a few times during this process because I just made it way too big, as I always do. So it will actually end up being smaller than it is right now. It's still not technically a tiny home in The Sims. I do check throughout this build a few times just to see if I was getting it to a low enough number of tiles to be considered a tiny home in the game, but it does not end up being that way, which is fine. I don't need it to be a tiny home in the game. It's just based off of a real life tiny home, so technically not clickbait. I do, however, want to start building tiny homes in The Sims again because I got Tiny Living a while back. It was like shortly after it came out, and then I built like one tiny home with it when I first got it, and then I just haven't really ever again. And I think it'd be a fun challenge because I notoriously make my builds massive, and I think it'd be a fun challenge to try to make like the smallest level of tiny home. I think it'd be really fun. So that might be an upcoming video. Right now in the build, I am just trying to lay out all the furniture and get an idea of where things are going to go. I did try to keep it pretty similar to the original way that they had it styled in the TikTok, which was a lot of the lighter tones and wood and natural light and all that stuff. But I do end up moving some things around just to make it more cohesive in the Sims build, and I do also change the styling a little bit. I do end up going with more of a dark and wood tone interior that kind of matches the exterior rather than the light wood tones that was in the original styling. So a lot of this furniture is going to change a little bit, as well as the layouts and kind of sizes of the rooms. They do get moved around a little bit and just altered. I will say this like light tone and white color scheme, as well as the like black and wood color schemes, are like some of my favorite design styles. I think they're so pretty. I'm not super into interior design and stuff. There's like a ton of styles I don't know. I don't really know much about that stuff, but I do sometimes get like interior design TikToks, and I love that world. I just don't know very much about it. But there are like 4 styles that I love, and I don't know how I could ever like incorporate all 4 of them into a house, but I like want to try because I love them all so much. But it's just like not realistic at all because all 4 of them are so incredibly different. I don't know how anybody could ever make them go together. I guess I'll just tell you. So my absolute favorite design style right now is the Danish pastel, kind of like the pastel pop kit, actually exactly like the pastel pop kit in this game. I see so many people on TikTok who have like full like eccentric Danish pastel themed like houses and apartments, and I love them. I love all the pretty colors. I love the patterns, just like the crazy decor people put in their houses, like a bunch of food items and like the strawberry vase and stuff like that. I love that style. That's like my number 1 style, but I don't think it'd be feasible for me to have in a house. I love those people who have those houses, but I don't see myself ever living in a house like that, I don't think. I think the ideal way that I could incorporate that into a house or an apartment is to have a stream room or a gaming room where I could make my content and stuff, and just have that be fully my own space, make it over the top Danish pastel area. I also, like, if I ever have a house one day, I kind of have this like dream to have a she shed and that be my streaming space. But I'd also take a room in the house, I guess. It'd just be nice to have a house in general. So that one I think I could at least incorporate into a house, because I'd like to have like my own space where I could do all that and paint the walls pretty and get a bunch of crazy decor and stuff like that. On the opposite side of that though, I also love the cottagecore style. I love all the plants and like patterned wallpaper and just cozy little cottage life. I would absolutely love to live in a cottage in like the English countryside. Oh my gosh, that's the dream. It'd be incredible. I would love to have like a nice little cottage and like cows and ducks in the field and just have like a little simple living. I could never actually do the simple living lifestyle. That's just, it would not be possible for me personally, but I love the idea of it. And I think that's why I like farming sim games so much and like cottage living in The Sims, because that's like the ideal lifestyle for me. It just would never work in practice, I don't think. But I do really love the way the cottagecore decor style looks. I think it's so pretty. It's just absolutely gorgeous and I love it. I will say the similarities between cottagecore and pastel Danish are there, because they're both a little more on the maximalist side, just with all the decor and like lots of plants and stuff like that. So I could see those going together, maybe. But one of my other favorite design styles is like the Scandinavian style, like very white and light woods, very cozy and kind of on the minimalist side, which is like the exact opposite of the other two styles that I've mentioned. And then the last design style that I really, really love is also nothing like the Scandinavian style and kind of nothing like the other ones either, but I don't even know what the exact term for it would be, but I just call it like monochrome jewel tones. I saw pictures on Twitter a while back of these rooms. It was like 4 separate rooms and each one was like monochrome of a certain color, and it was like one room was like this beautiful royal blue color and the walls were all painted that color, and then there was a couch in the same color and like the lighting was all dark, and then there was like a dining room that was like this emerald green and it was like dark wood, and then the chairs were emerald green and the walls were, and then the bedroom was like a deep red color with everything matching, and it just looks so good. I know I could never pull it off, and I would also want to like have too many decorations to ever make it look good, but I just think that's such a beautiful style and I absolutely love the idea of it. But anyway, that was my little tangent on interior design styles. I'm starting to really furnish these rooms now and get them into their final placements of where everything's going to be. I did move the bed over onto this other wall here, and you can see the bedroom is going to be more of the lighter toned woods and whites, whereas downstairs we changed it to the lighter toned woods and black accents, which we have a few black accents in the bedroom as well, but it's not quite as much. We've got a lot more of the lighter tones. And then also upstairs, I did decide to do an office space over here rather than a second bedroom. I think in the original floor plan it was 2 bedrooms, but I figured an office space would be better for the Sims version of this build, so that's what we went with. And I will say at this point in the video that I apologize for any whiplash you may get during this section, because I really was not super focused while I was furnishing this. Like, this was kind of just a for fun project that I was like, maybe one day I can turn this into a video. And so this is how I decorate my Sims houses usually when I'm not being super aware of the fact that I'm making content. I jump from room to room, from floor to floor. I do not have a set plan. A lot of times I'll like do one room, and then while I'm doing a different room, I'll find another item that I wanted to put in the other room. So it's just not very cohesive. There's not a very linear timeline here. I apologize for that, but you're seeing how my brain works in a video. This is how I think about things in everyday life. But especially with Sims builds, there's no plan, it's just do. And then also you will see I am using a few custom content pieces. It's not a ton, but it is more than I've been putting in builds lately because I have been more aware of not using as much custom content. I don't like to use custom content just so that if people want to download it off the gallery, they can do so. But at this point in time, this was before I launched my channel, and I was just kind of making stuff to maybe one day use as videos, so I wasn't really thinking about that. So I apologize for that. There is some custom content. I'll try to link it in the description down below so that if you want to download it, or if you want to see if you have that custom content, you can easily do that. And you can see now we jump to the exterior of the house, and I have a bone to pick with The Sims because I am seriously lacking in this game vertical wood paneling for houses, especially exterior, because we do have some that look like they could be interior walls, but we have like no good vertical wood exterior wallpapers. And that's crazy to me because that seems like such a common like accent for the outside of a house, or even the whole thing. Like, I don't know, it's bizarre. And I also wanted it to be more orangey toned and like vibrant and bright. and we just don't have any. Let me know if there's anything like that in specifically. I'm thinking maybe the industrial kit or eco lifestyle. There might be something like that, because I know eco lifestyle had like the container homes, that there may be something like that in there, because I don't have those packs. So there could be something like this in packs that I don't have. Let me know if that's the case, because I'm not sure. But that just seems like such a necessity to have. There's actually quite a few things like that in the game, where it's like things that are very common in real life builds or cast items as well, that we just don't have in the game. And it's really upsetting. I really think they need to do like a major base game overhaul of like new stuff to put in the game, because remember, this game came out in 2014. That's almost 10 years ago. And think about how much both interior design as well as fashion has changed over the last almost 10 years. It's insane. And that's why so much of the stuff, especially base game, is just not very good. And I know that would take a lot of time, and it probably doesn't seem worth it, but I really think that's like a huge thing that needs to be done. Just basic things. Things like vertical wood walls, also stone walls. I don't know that there's any stone walls in base game. There might be one, but I feel like most of the stone walls came in seasons. And that's such a common thing, to have a stone accent on the exterior of a house. Also, like carpets. I can't believe we still only have 2 base game carpet swatches. And then we really don't even have any additional ones with packs, other than the new one that came out with the pastel pop kit. Because the ones that came in City Living were like the dirty versions of the carpets we already had. It's just like stuff like that, where it's like, just give me the basics. Maybe that could be a kit. Oh gosh, I shouldn't give them ideas. But just like a interior design basics kit, and it's just like plain carpet, wooden walls, stone walls. Honestly, I would potentially think about buying that. Also, I was making Sims for a new series I'm about to start on TikTok the other day, and I needed a formal dress for one of them. All of the formal dresses in this game are terrible. I'm sorry, but I don't like any of them. At least none of the base game ones, and only like 1 or 2 of the ones from packs. They're terrible. So I went CC shopping a little bit last night, and I probably just need to do that for build mode stuff too, because stuff is not going to be added to the base game, I don't think. Especially if Sims 5 is supposed to be coming out soon, which I don't think there's any plans or roadmap at all, but the talks have started, so I feel like it's going to be in the near future more so than the far future. Which I'm curious to know what everybody thinks about a potential Sims 5, and if you're planning to get it when it releases or hold off. I know I will probably hold off on it for a little while. I know when Sims 4 came out, first of all, I wasn't really huge into The Sims. I've had like an on and off relationship with The Sims, because I got The Sims 3 a long time ago for Christmas, but I like never had a computer that I could play it on. Our family computer was like garbage and did not work for that. And then I finally got a laptop in high school that could at least somewhat handle it, and I got hooked on it. And by that point, Sims 4 was already out for a while, but I just never had it. And then I finally ended up buying it when it was on a Christmas sale for like $5. I feel like that's probably going to be my approach to The Sims 5 whenever it does come out, is just to keep playing Sims 4 until Sims 5 eventually would go on sale, because I still like Sims 4. Like, I'm not in any rush to get rid of it, especially because I don't do much gameplay. Like, I feel like gameplay is where people have a lot of concerns because of certain things being very glitchy or just very repetitive gameplay and stuff like that. But I'm not a huge gameplay person because I am not very imaginative, and I would rather just check things off of a little list of what I'm supposed to be doing. So for me, it works just fine for that, and for building and for creating Sims, which are my favorite things to do in the game. So I don't think I'm in too much of a rush to get the newest Sims game, especially because there's so many other simulation games and some other ones in the works. Paralives looks like it's going to be incredible, so I can't wait to see how that ends up. And I'm also still waiting on Disney Dreamlight Valley to be free, and then I'm gonna probably get very involved in that because it looks incredible. I just have not been able to afford to buy it yet, and especially knowing that it's going to be free at some point, I was like, I'll just wait and save the money for something else. But that's one that I'm like really, really anxious to get into because it looks so fun, and it's right up my alley. I love Disney. I love cozy games like that. I'm very much looking forward to that one day. If you all know of any other very cozy simulation games or anything like that, please send your recommendations my way because I'm always looking for more games to add to my library. I might not be able to do it right away because, not gonna lie to you, times are a little bit tough right now, but hopefully one day, every time I get like a Visa gift card or anything like that, I always spend it on games. So if you have any recommendations, please let me know. I would love them. And now I have pretty much finished this house. We're just adding in some artwork now. I kind of waited and did all the furnishing and decorating and left the artwork till the end, which I was very happy I did that actually, because the artwork is always like, I just kind of throw whatever on the wall as I'm decorating, and leaving it till the end kind of made me think about what I was going to use, and I think the pieces kind of go together a little bit better than what I usually do in houses. And it was also easier to keep track of which pieces I had already used and not use the same ones over and over and over again. But the house itself is pretty much done, so I just want to say, if you've made it this far in the video and listening to my ramblings especially, thank you so much for watching. I love and appreciate each and every single one of you. To think that anybody wants to even listen to me talk or watch me play these games blows my mind. So I love and appreciate each and every one of you so much. If you would like to hang out with me on any other social media platforms, I will have all of them linked below. As I said, I'm about to start a new series on TikTok. If you are a fan of Taylor Swift and The Sims, you will love it. I also do some build challenges over there pretty frequently, as well as some other little trends and stuff like that here and there. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like so I know you enjoyed it. I don't do a whole lot of speed builds, but I really, really like them. So let me know if that is something you all would like to see more of. If you like The Sims and other cozy games, consider subscribing and joining my community of noodles. We are almost at 100. I don't know what we're going to do once we get there. I'm thinking I'm going to have to come up with something special, maybe where you all control my game or something like that. So if you're interested, consider subscribing so you can be a part of that. But that is about all I have for you today. I will be adding screenshots on the end of this here, and I hope you all have a fantastic day or week ahead of you, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!